Hey guys, Level here. Today we're making a tier list for the IEM Cologne Major for CS2. I might be a little early to the party. Obviously, we're about a month away before the event starts, and there isn't a big event in between IEM Atlanta. So it's a little bit taboo to kind of skip over the event because you miss out on seeing the forms of certain teams. But to be honest, I'm not going to watch Atlanta. So I have no problem talking about this a month in advance. So I have a little tier list here. It starts with S, which means I think they're going to be a finalist or maybe a quarterfinalist, possibly. We'll see how the tier list progresses. We have A, which means I think they're going to make playoffs. And if they do make playoffs, some of the teams there I will consider a dark horse to win the event. Obviously, if you're quarterfinalist, finalist, like you have a chance to win, but maybe there'll be a team in the top eight that gets a good bracket seed or something. If the situation's right, they can go on a run. I have B tier, which is deep stage three. So deep stage three means they're probably like a 2 and 3 team, or they advance to the playoffs. So they can either just miss it or just make it. Um, Same thing with deep stage two. They can either be a 2 and 3 in stage two, or they can make it to stage three and then get knocked out. The tier below that I'm going to call tier 1.5, which is a phrase that gets thrown around sometimes on a lot of the Counter-Strike sphere uh, podcasts, talking shows, whatever. I might have a different opinion on what I think tier 1.5 is, but clearly it's not tier one, and it's probably teams that are not going to make it really to stage two, because obviously there's some terrible teams in stage one. So if you're tier 1.5, you're basically sometimes a tier two team, and maybe you can't really compete at that level, so you don't make it to stage two. And then F tier is fuck out of here, because it's like either they shouldn't be a team, or they got here in they got to the event, they qualified in some very questionable manners. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're not even a 1.5 team. Like I think there's some teams out there that are 1.5 that missed out on the major, and maybe they deserve to be here because of the quality of their players or the history of the organization or something. But obviously anybody in the F tier really really is taking a spot that they shouldn't have maybe. Okay, so let's start out. We have Gamer Legion. Now, Gamer Legion just had an incredible series against the Astralis recently. I don't really know their coach. I do like their team though. Towson, PR, Rez is a great rifling core. I think that's really strong. Hypex is probably not that good of an opper. I thought Rez was opping. I thought there was some news of this, but maybe that was a one-off event. So I think it is Hypex, unless I'm mistaken. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care who the opper is because they have strong riflers, and Snacks I think is a good IGL in the sense that he can create CT-sided setups on a majority of the maps, and he could probably play like a very basic like execute style um, on the T side. So he'll definitely like be able to keep his team in contention on the T side, and then be able to have really strong defensive rounds to either start out games well or close out games. So the only thing I have necessarily bad to say about Gamer Legion is I don't think their opera is very good in comparison to the rest of the world. And this logo is atrocious. The logo is F tier for sure. I don't know why they rebranded to this nonsense here. However, I do think the team is pretty good, and I don't see like their rifling core is very strong. So like, yeah, it's Gamer Legion, right? And they have some young names, right? Their roster might get poached, right? I also think it's really weird that like the whole like Ash situation didn't really work out very well. Um, so I think they're like probably in other people's mind a tier 1.5 team, but I have a different definition of this. And I definitely think they could make it to deep stage 2 and maybe get knocked out. Like they're the highest ranked team in stage 1. They should progress through stage 1. They should be able to win in stage 2 against somebody, right? So they should be able to get a few wins, whether it's best of ones or not best of ones. I don't want to have that conversation. Okay, so C tier, like C tier, I think is reasonable for Gamer Legion. The next team is Bait, and well, it seems like they made some roster moves, or it's just this guy Sizzy. Who did he replace? Head Trick. Ooh, really? Head Trick and this guy who played 5 maps and was terrible. So it seems like they don't have their roster necessarily complete in their minds because they're still like, to be honest, this guy's only been on the team for 3 months. So to me, he's still kind of trialing. Um, I think Alex is pretty good. I think Ken Scizor is pretty good. Um, NPL is great. I actually think NPL is a fantastic player. I'm 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 pretty happy that he was able to overcome being like shoved out of Navi. And then they have a Russian coach, which is weird because they're a full Ukrainian team. Um, and he's only 25. I think this team has good potential, and they should be able to get out of stage 1, but I just don't think they're gonna get deep stage 2. Do I really believe that this team's gonna get 2 wins? Maybe not. It's kind of seeming like a 1.5 team, even though I think they have good pieces. Um, I think their ceiling may not be very high, right? So for me, like this is probably a 1.5 team because I just don't think they have the ceiling. And they're also still testing out their last player. Um, like they're still trying to find that fifth guy. And like if they got another like Ukrainian Russian star kind of player, then yeah, this team would be able to maybe even reach deep stage 3. Because like I think the foundation is there, but nah, this is a 1.5 team for me. D tier. M80. I actually love M80. I love the style they play. I think they have a great roster. I really liked I really liked Hext. I thought Hext was quite good. So it's unfortunate his place was taken by JBA, but apparently JBA is pretty good. Is it like an upgrade? I don't know. I mean, I think Hext was pretty good. Yeah, I think there was a moment in time where M80 could have been like a real threat to some people in the scene, but for whatever reason, the North American the North American teams that showed promise, or those hybrid like mixed teams that showed promise, like the Wild Cards, the NRGs, there's another American org that I'm missing. They just didn't really show up, and no one did. None of those like prospective teams really blew up. So I think M80 missed the boat on becoming like actually a strong team. However, I think they do have firepower, so I think I mean, Slacks is really good. Their rifles are good. They play in a way where like other teams probably will have a hard time uh like anti-stratting them, and I think they have a decent map pool, especially against weaker opponents. So I would put M80 in the C tier for sure. Okay, Betboom is a stacked roster. Like Betboom is actually stacked for like Russian players. Also, I think I really like Boomage as an IGL, um, because I think he can think on his own. I think he can think on his own, and obviously Anubis is back in the map pool. I think his Anubis was very strong comparatively to uh, many other teams when it was in the map pool initially. And I think it's really weird. I mean, I don't understand, buyouts and contracts, all that. But when you take a look at a team like Spirit, and they go from Chopper, who was a respected IGL, but really struggled individually, to replace him with another player that, well, yeah, Magix is a little bit younger, maybe he has a little bit better of an individual ceiling. I never really saw Magix as like the type to take over IGL for any team. I always thought he was a very quiet element to like a nice thing to pair with whatever you were doing, offensively or defensively. But I never really saw him as like a player that you would move to IGL. I mean, it kind of makes sense for Spirit to do that. And like it's kind of working. Seems like they had some recent success. But if you were Spirit and you had the opportunity to get Boomage as your IGL, why wouldn't you do that? He speaks the language, he can think on his own, he thinks creatively, he can develop the meta. Uh, at least at least, okay, let me put it this way. If you were a CS team and you have one map, right, that you're like really good on compared to every other team in the world, like that's super helpful for just winning games, right? So if I am a viewer and I try to watch CS when I can, if I'm a viewer and I think Boomage, the way he calls on Anubis is really good. I mean, just think about how when Boomage was on Cloud9, I know this is a long time ago and it might not be super relevant, but when he was on Cloud9, he was able to call an Anubis game, and he was probably one of the better teams in the world on Anubis. A rough number, maybe a top five team on Anubis, right? So he has a really, really strong understanding of that map, right? Now I think the new mid window could change some things, right? Like even in my own play, I think that new mid window really changed the way that I played as the second mid rotator, and how if I wasn't the second mid rotator, if I was just the mid player, uh if I was just the mid player, like it really does change the way I play and how aggressive I can get. And I didn't really like the change. Like honestly, I preferred the other version of Anubis, but and I'm sure that has some effect at the pro level. But like if I was Spirit, I would kill to have Boomage as my IGL comparative to somebody else. So I think it's really, really weird. So obviously, I think this is a team that should definitely be deep stage two. Uh, well, actually, we have to see how that develops when the actual stage two teams are there, because I'm not sure about the relative strength. So you only need to be top eight, right, of 16? I think Boomage is top eight team. And then, like, if you go to stage two, I think Betboom's a top eight team. I think if you go to stage two, like, yeah, there's better teams here, but I still would say that they could squeak in to the top eight of this part also. I think that's entirely reasonable. So I would have to stay deep stage two. Deep stage three is a question for me. Maybe we'll move things later, but right now I would kind of do. uh, See, the thing is like I'm a believer in M80. I think Gamer Legion has the rifles and snacks IGL, which is fine. And then I think BetBoom just overall has talent. I mean I assume they have a good offer. And then they have a bunch of Russian rifle players who should be able to put up like 1.3s and shit, especially against the bad teams. So yeah, deep stage two for now. We'll see if we move any of these teams to B. Energy's a weird one. So I think I think Grim is really disappointing as just a talent out of North America. I think Nitro's a good player. He always has been. Um, but it's weird. He like retired like twice, and now he's just still on one of the better teams in North America. Um, I mean, I think he has a good understanding of the game also. Like he's always been on a team that was competitive to some extent on a worldwide level, right? No matter who you're versing, like he'll, he should be able to keep the game close enough, right? And I think even at points in times, he was at the top, not top, but near the top of really understanding the game and having dominance on some maps, right? Like I think Train is no longer with us, but like when I think about the map Train, I think NRG had a pretty good train for the surrounding teams. I think teams like G2 had a pretty good train, right? But then train gets rotated out, and then these teams are irrelevant. Um, yeah. I think Bro was kind of snubbed by Astralis, right? And he showed promise on NRG, and I think he was making some mistakes, honestly, that well, I don't really know if they went away. I don't know if the mistakes that he makes like went away. It's kind of hard to grow on a team like NRG and like become a better player because you're only so limited to the opponents that you're playing. I don't particularly care about OC. I think he had his moment in time, and I think Sonic's a pretty strong player. For me, at this point, there's so many like streamer teams, just people that are like actually retired and aren't good anymore. Uh, let me put it this way: Energy is never gonna win the major, right? So, like, if they just competed in, local events for fun, then they're a great team. But if you're trying to build a roster to win the major, like, that's just not gonna happen. It's not reasonable. I don't think they make deep stage 2. I definitely think this is a tier 1.5 team. But at least it's a complete team. Like, it's definitely a complete team, so I have to say that they're better than Bait, right? If they go head to head with Bait, Energy should win. Actually, Energy was really close to advancing through the major last time, from what I remember. I think they had a close game against Furia or Navi or something, or I don't know if it was Lynn Vision. Like, didn't they almost make playoffs last time? Yeah, but I don't think they have it anymore. They were either almost stage 3 or they were almost playoffs, and they just got like a bad draw towards the end. Okay, MIBR has made one of the strangest decisions I think I've ever seen from a Counter-Strike roster last time, and like it didn't work very well, but it worked better than it should have. And I just think like, okay, I like LNZ, right? I think Insani's a good rifler, and then the Klim guy is honestly pretty good. I just don't know how they made that work. Obviously, they have more Brazilians now, so they're probably going to try to transition back into that. And well, LNZ hasn't been great. I do think once he leaves MIBR, he will be a sought after commodity as an IGL. Just for like some project, right? He's definitely going to be on a team. He's kind of like ZTR in a way, but I don't know which one I would rather have. I don't really see them being deep stage 2, so I just kind of have to go here. And then I just think the project as a whole is really fucked up, and I don't really see the vision. So I would assume Bait would be able to beat MIBR. So yeah, we'll call that 1.5, I guess. Okay, Lin Vision's a weird one. Honestly, they have a lot of good Chinese pieces. I would say it's a complete team. Um, but I mean, the Chinese CS has never really proven to do anything relevant. Um, I don't understand why the Chinese teams play if they never get better or are able to compete. I would say Lin Vision is maybe better than Bait. That might be a hot take. Um, I would also say Lin Vision is also a complete team. comparatively to NRG. Uh, do they have a higher ceiling? Maybe. It's definitely possible. Um, I don't want to disrespect NRG though, because I do like that org and Nitro. So, some of the Chinese players are fun to watch though. They've like, especially Amelia. Like I like the personality. You know what I mean? Like, are you gonna get that level of personality out of NRG? Like when you watch NRG play, like, are they having fun? Is there vibes? You know, I think the Chinese players are having fun, and I think the passion matters just a little bit more. I think the passion is there. Gaimin Gladiators is a weird one. They've got Henny, who actually like usually puts up pretty good series. They've got Yota, Nekiz, and Fur. They don't have Phelps, which is weird, but it would be super funny if Fur just like doesn't play for, like 4 years and then just comes and dominates. Like they have players that can take over games, and honestly, I should probably put NRG higher, right? Because NRG definitely had like Nitro can have a good series, Grim can have a good series, Bro could have a good series, and they just, they get into stage two, but are they going to go deep stage two? I don't know, right? The Gaimin Gladiators are probably not going to go deep stage two. I assume it's like a 1 in 3 if they make it to go to stage two, but it's just going to be fun to watch them beat teams because they're really not expected to beat anybody. And imagine like they have no chance to win the major, no chance to get to playoffs, but like it'd be funny if they fuck up someone's major run just because Fur had like you know, career revival while only has one ear and he's half blind or whatever the fucking story is. I'm gonna go 1.5. I think they're I would say maybe they have a chance to be better than MIBR just because they're gonna be unpredictable, you know what I mean? Like LNZ is gonna like try to call, right? And he might get beat out or he doesn't have the pieces or there's some communication issue. Like I don't think there's gonna be any communication issues on Gaimin Gladiators. I think they're just gonna play their style, show up, play with confidence, and maybe upset some teams. Okay, I literally know nothing about Sharks, other than they just beat 100 Thieves recently, which I was like, oh, 100 Thieves lost. That's weird. Seems like that project isn't going very well. I know nothing about this team. It seems like they beat up on academy rosters a little bit, and that's all they have. So I'm gonna put them at the. Honestly, if you're just beating up on academy rosters, you're probably in fuck out of here. And like on top of like just beating up on academy rosters, which is like cool, you beat a top fucking 80 team in the world. Congrats. Um, they changed their logo so that it's not even really a shark anymore. It's just like the little fin, and it's like if you're gonna be the Sharks, you should probably just keep the shark logo, in my opinion. I mean, it's like way cooler. I will say this is well designed though, right? You have the two S's, you have the H and the K which look similar, and the A and the R which look similar. Like I from a design perspective, this is uh from a typography perspective, I like what they did here. From a design perspective, I think it's a little weak, and then I think the fin kind of sucks. Like the fin should have maybe, been behind the word and it kind of overlaps over the first S. Um, Overall, though, I do like their previous logo just a bit better. But yeah, definitely fuck out of here. Okay, Flyquest is a weird one. So they're rated like top 70 in the world, top 80 in the world. And it's like INS has never been able to prove that he's a good IGL. I think Vexite is like decent player, but he goes negative a bit too often. I think JKS he was honestly probably my favorite player at a point in time in his early Renegade days. And then it was super cool, right, to watch him just sub for, well, he got kind of fucked on G2, but he kept subbing into teams and like winning. You know what I mean? Um, I like JKS a lot. I think this team shows more promise than maybe all of the teams below them right now, right? Maybe more promise, right? And especially if Story shows up on the op, right? I think a lot of the Australian teams have never really had an opper. Um, there's Nifty, there's Junior, there's Gratisfaction. There might be one more guy, but no one's really had a great ceiling. So I don't really think that Story has much to he doesn't have much that he needs to do to beat out the people that came before him. Obviously, Flyquest has beat just complete bums to get into this major. Like, there's no real teams. I'm pretty sure all of these guys beat real teams. And you have to be really careful, right? Like, I have bait here in tier 1.5, but they're Ukrainian, which means they pair up against Ukrainian and Russian teams all day. That's all they scrim against, and those teams are obviously very good. Uh, so like the respective quality of the region, obviously bait is probably at the top here, but I just don't believe in the roster. FlyQuest has not beaten anybody to get to this point. I think, I mean, at this point, like if I'm gonna call out NRG for not really making a strong enough roster to be able to compete, then like obviously FlyQuest is the same thing, but comparatively, FlyQuest has mainly Australian players. They're going through the Asian system, and they've even went out of their way to get a Portuguese, I think he's Portuguese, Portuguese opper who should be better than a very strong majority of all of the oppers in Asia and Australia, right? Or and New Zealand, right? So like Story might be the best Eastern opper, even though he's not Eastern. Um, which I mean technically gives them a chance, right? I guess all of these teams could make it through stage one. Like you never know what's going to happen, but I mean FlyQuest definitely has a good chance. What I will say is it's at least they're beating most of the Asian opponents, right? They're beating the Tyloos, the Rare Atoms, the Chigas Warriors, which is like a, a tier two 2.5 like Mongolian team. I would say like it's almost the equivalent of like fighting academy teams, but I assume the Chigas Warriors are like slightly better than an academy team, just based off of like what I know. Yeah, this is fine. Like I guess. In comparison to FlyQuest, the other Australian team here is Thunder Down Under, which have an awful logo, an awful name. They've got players I've never heard of, and they don't even beat the Chinese teams. Somehow they're like 20 spots rated higher than FlyQuest, but they don't even beat the best teams coming out of China or wherever the Asian teams come out. I assume it's mainly China, um, Mongolia, whatever. Um, Thunder Down Under like only beats local land teams, and somehow they're like top 50 in the world. And I think the saddest part here is that like Alistair was one of the better Australian players, and he got like kicked out of FlyQuest. The Australian scene has never done anything of relevancy unless Sponge brought Renegades or Azure brought Renegades to like a relevant playoff run that I can't remember. But okay, Thunder Down Under. The IGL here is Dexter, who, I mean, I thought he was serviceable on Mouz during his time on Mouz. But then like he went back to Australia to like prove that he could bring European CS to Australia, and that failed really miserably. And I took a look at his account on his account page on HLTV, and it seems like he only has one trophy, which is a Flashpoint Season 3. And it's like, oh god, Flashpoint Season 3, like this that's terrible. I mean, it was like there were some teams there. There was definitely like more than 6 or 7. I'm not making a joke. Um, like 7 like teams that were probably relevant at the time. Like like that was a serious tournament win. I don't know how he won. I can't remember. But yeah, this is definitely a fuck out of here for me. Like this is just it would be cool if like they did something, but I don't think they're gonna do anything. Is their logo worse than Sharks? So Thunder down under. I see the purple lightning bolts. Thunder. Oh, you see the pointing down arrow. So there's lightning and there's down. It's terrible. I mean, it's just not very good. I mean, they tried. They tried. It is purple and it is more of a logo than Sharks. Like the Sharks one is just too basic. There's not even like 2 shades of coloring here. It's just like one. Uh, God, I don't want to look at this. It looks like a shitty gambling company's logo or something. Like it looks like trash. It does look better than Sharks, but that's just because Sharks is just a word. Um, I think yeah, no, Thunder Down Under F tier. Tyloo's similar to Lynn Vision, except like I think their players are worse. If I think their players are worse, I would hope Flyquest can beat them. I would hope NRG could beat them. I would imagine Bait's gonna beat them. I would put them on the same level of a Gaimin Gladiators kind of deal here. I would probably like what would I rather watch? I'd probably rather watch Gaimin Gladiators and then MIBR. I don't really care. So it's kind of something like that. I would assume they might not even make it out of stage one. So I watched this heroic team play recently. I think they beat BIGCLAN. So it's good that they're next to each other. We'll talk about that. I really like Krizen. I think he's the IGL. Um, I like Krizen. I think xFloud is a good piece. I think Sus P is a good piece. I think Youngster is a trash rifler, but the thing is he's no longer the rifler. He's the opper. And well, for this level of opponents, I think him on the op is fine, and maybe it even suits his playstyle a bit better because I think he likes to overpeak. And I think overpeaking with the rifle costs you bomb sites and rounds. I think overpeaking with the op will lead to more success because you just kind of peek out and like, kill a guy with 1 bullet. That's my evaluation of heroic right now. And then the Nilo kid, I don't really know. But what I saw from them, they played a BIGCLAN. I think they played an overpass game where I think they beat BIGCLAN. They also played a Dust 2 game where I thought they might have lost to BIGCLAN. I don't remember the win-loss, but I would say that their CT side Dust 2 was much higher quality than BIGCLAN's. Simply because it was obvious to me that they had a better understanding of what was happening on the map. Um, so if they can display that level of understanding, and I believe they had good foundation and protocol, then I see no reason why they can't make it to stage two. They're they're probably better. Who was the top ranked team here? Gamer Legion? Yeah, I think they're probably worse than Gamer Legion, but they're better than everyone else below them right now. Are they better than Lin Vision? It's close. It's close. I think it's very close between Lin Vision. I think MAD has more firepower. So I would put them here. Okay, BIGCLAN. Now here's the thing. They commented on one of my videos recently, and I thought that was cool. That was a fun interaction for me. I reached out to them, maybe through the wrong process. Maybe it was the wrong process. I was trying to get an affiliate link for their website to get like a little sponsorship to like sell their clothing and mouse pads and stuff. Who knows? Maybe that can still happen. Uh, so before we talk about Big Clan, we'll just talk about me. I may or may have not been a very big Kenny S fan, so I may have rooted for the Enviouses and the G2s of the world. But then Kenny S, he kind of wasn't really as good as he was. And basically every time the major comes around, I would just root for Kenny S to win, whatever team he was on. Not so much on the Falcons roster. I was kind of moved past the Kenny S train after his time in G2. So I haven't really had a team since he left G2, right? I still don't have a team. I still don't have a team that I want to win. That interaction really progressed me to want to root for Big Clan, okay? Whether they're a finalist or what. Okay, this would be insane if they went to Cologne with the German crowd and won, right? However, I think that's not going to happen, okay? I don't think that's going to happen. And they start out in stage 1, man. Like there's a lot of stages, there's a lot of chances to lose. There's so many chances to lose. But if they can get to the crowd, if they can get the crowd on their side in Cologne, then yeah, I think they're a dark horse to win the major for sure. Like, for sure. Why? Because you gotta believe, man. You gotta believe. However, they have to get there first. So if they don't get there first, and you're losing to teams like Heroic, right? I mean, let's pull up BigClan. Let's see who they've lost to. 73.5% win rate. We lost to Namiga. We beat Sparta. We don't care because we don't know who they are. We lost to Ascend. Or sorry, we won. We beat Sparta. We beat Ascend. Don't know who those teams are. Irrelevant. We lost to Ninja and Pajamas. Ninja and Pajamas didn't even make the major. We lost a map to Sharks, who I think is one of the worst teams here. We lost to Heroic. That's not good. We lost a map to 100 Thieves, and 100 Thieves is losing to. Who are they losing to? I just brought it up before. Was it Bait? I honestly can't. It was either Gaimin Gladiators or MIBR or Bait or something. Um, they're just losing to Scrubs, bro. And I mean, okay, honestly, pretty good win here, but you lose to Nemesis. Like, who are these guys even? It should never happen. Okay, Big Clan needs to be better than this. And I think part of the problem, I like their roster as a whole. Even Favin is better than he's better than I thought he was for sure. Which is cool, right? And I'm not helping myself get this fucking potential affiliate or free mouse pad or anything. But how do I look at maps? I don't even know how to use this website. Stats. Okay, so maps, right? We're 6-1 here on Inferno. That's nice. I haven't really seen them play Inferno. I've seen Overpass, which I think is pretty good, and I think they just need to work on their timings and understanding of rotation just slightly. If they could slightly tweak their understanding of where the opponents are so that they know which bomb site to hit and not make a mistake, I think their overpass is top 10 in the world. Um, I haven't really seen their nuke. This is a bad loss to Namiga on Mirage. Like I think I don't mind. Like I don't mind. It's hard. These win rates are obviously inflated because they play bad teams. But the big one for me here is Dust 2. I've I've seen them play two Dust 2 maps, and I think it's their weakest map. And actually, by win percentage, it is their weakest map. But they keep playing it. Like every time I watch them, I just happen to be watching them play Dust 2. Dude, their understanding of this map is not good. It really, really needs to be worked on. They need to get some analyst, some anti-stratter guy to really fix their Dust 2. Uh, they don't have a permaban, which is cool, but you should probably permaban Dust 2 this next major because I know Blame F can play Overpass. I know Blame F can play Ancient. I know your Mirage is probably fine. The Anubis, I'm skeptical about, but you're getting exposure to big teams here, right? I mean, FaZe Clan, obviously you beat them, but you know, like NIP, right? It's like you only got 5 rounds, but at least you're getting the exposure. You may not have a good understanding of Anubis, but your Dust 2, you're gonna get outclassed by every team here, which is really depressing for me to say. So I think you're a playoff dark horse, actually, unironically. But the problem is, I don't think you're going to be able to get there, especially if you like flex Dust 2s, you know, even in best of ones. Like, do not play Dust 2 in your best of ones. I think, bro, the problem is you're losing to Heroic, right? And like, I want to believe you're better than Heroic. And if I believe you're better than Heroic, I would put you right up here with Betboom, right? And then I would even, you know, make the case you could get to stage 3, right? But I can't do that because you lost to Heroic, right? Now, I think you're going to overcome that. You're going to learn from your mistakes at that CCTV. I think you're going to be better than Lynn Vision. I think you're going to be the better German team than M80. And can you beat out Gamer Legion? That's a tough ask, right? That's a very tough ask. They're the highest seeded team here, right? So if you can beat Gamer Legion, that would be an improvement for BIGCLAN, right? Just on your trajectory right now where it's kind of maybe flatlining, right? And you know, you can be mad, but you guys beat very few teams leading up to this major run that were relevant, okay? So I want to see something from BIGCLAN, okay? I am optimistic about what's going to happen for BIGCLAN. Okay? Again, you're a dark horse if you get there, but you got to get there. Don't play us too, please. Back to series mode. So the next team is Sinners. I know absolutely nothing about Sinners. They have... Oh yeah, I don't know anything about this team. Actually, hold on. The guy who created this, isn't he like someone famous? It's some Chechnyan org, and honestly, I don't know any of their players. And it's probably another academy beater team. At least Sharks is like winning maps against real orgs. Um, yeah, I have no opinion. I don't care. Sorry. Surprise me, okay? Like, so put on your hater blockers and surprise me. Liquid's a weird one. Obviously, like Liquid, they should be here, right? They should like barely miss the playoffs. Um, but they suck. Leash hasn't been able to do anything. Shuei's been a complete flop since his success in Mouz. Uh, when you look at it, they've got 2 Polish guys on their roster. They've got a Canadian. They've got 1 guy from North America, and the other guy's from Central America. So the other guy's from Central America, which is like all the way at the bottom of Mexico. So like he's not even really North American, and Liquid is listed as a North American team. I mean, we're playing with real fire here with how we qualified to the event. Um, Also, like this team is good. Like Ultimate has peaks. He was a good IGL at one point in time. He should be America's best player. Where is NAF? Why is NAF so inconsistent? You know, he used to be like back in 2019 like a great anchor, right? And then Malbs was a great anchor for G2, and then he's apparently got into his head and it just collapsed, right? So what is this mess of a team right here? And I think it's a mark against this flashy guy for going out 0-3 at the last major and for not being able to win anything with this current roster. It is very disappointing. 38% win rate and they get to the major. I mean, look at the opponents they beat, right? They can't even beat M80. They're getting absolutely stomped, man. Like I don't know if Liquid and FaZe Clan just didn't adapt to the meta changes that were happening. But to me, like as a viewer, it seems like a lot of teams just play the same Counter-Strike on every map, right? With like subtle differences or anti-strats, right? But like overall, it's kind of just the same. No one really has their own style anymore. And it seems like Kerrigan with FaZe Clan and whatever the fuck this Liquid project is have been complete fucking dog shit. Like actually disappointing. So like their potential is uh maybe playoffs, probably deep stage 3, probably a 2 and 3 stage 3 team, but they had to get through stage 1, they got to get through stage 2, and then they have to win games in stage 3 against the better teams in the world. It seems unreasonable. However, they should be able, I mean, you say they should, right? It could be a dead roster, right? It could be the dead roster approach where it's like, hey, we got mobs, we're still losing, whatever, guys, let's just boot camp and play without care, right? And then maybe it just meshes together and you get through stage 2, right? I think I haven't really watched too much Liquid, but I almost want to say they're about the level of BIGCLAN, right? I mean, Gamer Legion's a complete team. Betboom should be a complete team. And when I say complete, I don't mean the roster this time. Like before, when I said that, I was talking about the rosters. I mean, these two teams are real teams. Like they're competing at a level where they can upset you, and they can take away your tournament run. You know what I mean? I don't think Liquid can do that yet, and they could probably lose to anybody, and they actually haven't won to anybody. They might be worse than Heroic. I mean, they're somewhere here. I think they're better than everyone there. I don't think they should lose to any of those teams. Maybe Bait in an upset just because, Ukrainian players, but it's probably going to look something like this. Okay, Spirit, finally we have a real team. Um, the level of Counter-Strike to me is very depressing um, in the scene. So even if Spirit is not in the best form or Hallie comes back and what's Magic's, right? So Magic's, he starts calling scared again, and they're not very good. Even if Spirit play pretty awfully, they should be able to make it to the playoffs. I mean, they're light years ahead of all the teams already graded, all these teams. Um, could they win? Maybe. Maybe with like a Shiro MVP and Donk doesn't have any bad maps. Yeah, definitely. This foot roster is legit, dude. They won Bucharest. They they beat Astralis, right? And then the next time they played Astralis, I think Hooksy worked really, really hard on anti-stratting them and they lost. However, they won Bucharest. And I think they have a promising team. I think this is a deep stage 3 for sure. I see no reason why they wouldn't make it through stage 2. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with that. I'll keep going in order. So G2's here. I like Hunter IGL. I think he's lost a bit of confidence. I think I don't know. It's very strange. I don't know why this team isn't successful. It's very weird. I think Heavy God's a solid player. I think even Sun Pius, people don't like him, but I think he's decent, right? Uh, I think even if he has a potential like Sun Pius could like perform well at this major and just like retire, right? I mean, I don't know if he will, right? He could do something else with his life, but I feel like he has motivation enough to want to overperform, which is cool. They have Nertz, which really needs to fix himself. Actually, they just had a really bad series against the FaZe Clan with the stand-in guy. So it seems like their mental's pretty fucked. Yeah, they really should have closed that game out. They should have beat FaZe. Like that was really disappointing. I don't know that they're guaranteed to make stage 3, which sounds silly. I really like Mathis. Um, deep, deep stage 3. I mean, I wouldn't really consider them deep. Like they could go out 1-3. Um, they're probably like this, I think. I think they could make stage 3. I don't know if they're guaranteed to be deep stage 3 though. Legacy is a real team. Complete team, Art, Dumao, Lado, Satizin. Um, I would say already on the level of Gamer Legion, a Gamer Legion Betboom kind of deal. Um, I even have more confidence in these two teams than I do G2. I'm just not very confident in them. I think there's time though, right? Like I said, we are a month away. We are a month away. They just lost to FaZe Clan. They have a month to fix their problems and get some warm-up games against some of these worst teams here. Also, they could perform. I don't know if they're playing at Atlanta, but they could perform well at Atlanta. I'll say they can get 2 wins in stage 3. I think that's reasonable. Also, Legacy's pretty good. Legacy's pretty good. I mean, they should be able to get to stage 3, at least stage 2. We'll say deep stage 2. NZ, another terrible logo. Um, I'm just gonna say fuck out of here. I think they just bomb out. They ruin their logo. I don't know any of the players on their team. I'm I'm pretty sure they had good rosters at points in time, and well, I could do research if you really want me to. So they're number 19 in the world. 19 in the world. They lose to Legacy pretty frequently, and they beat local Brazilian teams. Yeah, not impressed. Not impressed at all. So I think that's a fuck out of here for sure. Monte, another bad logo. Um, I think this roster is promising though. They have two UK guys who I've never heard of. Afro, who I think is an opper. Uh, Rainwaker and BMOS. Who's the opper here? Yeah, it's Afro. I mean, Afro can op. I think BMOS is a great anchor supportive element. Seems like Rainwaker is their best player. And then the two UK guys just have to prove something. I think there's enough here to be like, yeah, they're definitely at least here against Gaimin Gladiators. I would assume, I mean, I don't really want to put them any higher, but this might be like a fun team to watch, actually. Um, you could even like, you could even like make the case that it kind of looks like this, right? And then like something like that, right? Like they might be better than a Flyquest. However, I mean, what's the quality of their game? And they also have two UK players, which is super weird. I'm gonna leave it like this. Monte is a weird one. I would say tier 1.5, but like I just don't know enough. Okay, Pain Gaming, they had good start players, right? And you'd think, oh, good start players, solid IGL, maybe somewhere here, right? But they got rid of their star players. They gave their star roles to Snow, which is ass, right? And I'm not necessarily stealing Maui Snake takes. I believe that myself. I believe that before probably Maui Snake ever said it. I thought that was really weird. Not taking credit for the take, obviously. I do like Safe. I think VSM is not bad, and I do like Safe. However, if Snow is still their star player, there's big problems here. There's big, big problems. I don't even think IGLing, it's got to be here in terms of strength. I think there's definitely reason to believe they could upset. Let me do this. This is bothering me a little bit. Okay, I think there's reason to believe like they could go like here or here or maybe even here, but I just think they're gonna flop out. I think they're a solid team. Tier one. Ooh, I don't know about that. Which is weird. It's like I'm considering heroic, big, and Lynn Vision to technically be tier one or like almost there, because I think they're gonna get through the first stage. But yeah, I don't know. Pain Gaming, not great. Astralis. Okay, I like the Astralis roster. Fuzi, Yabi, Stare, Hooksy IGL. I think Hooksy IGL is very good. I think Hooksy IGL actually, it might be here. He should be better than Hunter. I don't really know too much about Foot, but I assume he's better than Foot. I think Astralis should make playoffs. I mean, this isn't. The thing is similarly to Bait, they have this fifth player, which is new to the roster. So, uh, Astralis signed this guy named Ryu, who I think is from Monte. He's either from Gamer Legion or Monte. I don't really know how good he is. Um, I might have seen a single highlight that I can't remember at all. However, I think the IGLing and the rest of the team is really strong in comparison to all these other teams. So I would say they should be able to make playoffs. Dark horse to win the major? No, I don't. I don't think so. But I think Astralis is legit. Okay, Vitality is definitely a quarter finalist. I don't think they go out in semis. Okay, so we're at the stage 3 teams, right? So basically guaranteed stage 3. So everything is going to be B plus, right? I think for me the Vitality maps are weird. So I think they can definitely play Anubis, right? Even if it's their flex pick. I haven't really seen them play Ancient, right? And apparently this Apex doesn't play it, right? They only have one map. Their Dust 2 is the best in the world right now, which they just lost. I don't know if it was this one right here. And allegedly, like, they weren't practicing, right? And for me, there's certain things I do in my life where if I go to practice something, whatever it is, um, the initial results can actually be really poor, but over time it becomes better, right? So if we're a month away from the major, I would really hope that their boot camp starts earlier rather than later because they said themselves that they stopped practicing, which to me is very believable. Um, if they start practicing too late, they might gain some level of overconfidence, or maybe too much trust in themselves, where you might be in a scenario where you shouldn't have that much trust in yourself, and it could backfire. For me as a viewer, I keep getting told that their T-side Mirage is really bad. As a viewer, it is pretty bad. To me, I think their Inferno is very shaky. And then obviously Navi just made a big hole in their nuke, even though they lost, right? Even though Navi was 4 HP away from basically winning nuke. Um, that's 3 maps right there. You don't play Ancient, so that's basically 4 maps. You don't play a lot of Anubis, but I'll give you Anubis. And the overpass is a weird one. So, like, I won't say that their nuke is weak by any means. Actually, Mezzi's so impressive on the A site, dude. So maybe it's like 3 maps. 3 maps where it's like kind of questionable. Is there a map that I missed? Okay, Dust 2 is their best map, but at the end of the day, it's Dust 2. Like, somebody out there should be able to beat Vitality on Dust 2 consistently. It's very strange that there's not anybody that comes close. However, it's their best map. I mean, it really, it's not a good thing that it's their best map. So just looking at this and watching the games that I've watched, it's very impressive that they're the best team. I mean, best, I mean, yeah, probably the best team of all time, but strange, very strange. I don't even know where to go in the map pool, to be honest. Like, I would definitely, like, if I was an IGL and I had a team, I would try to fight them on Inferno. Um, Inferno Mirage if possible. And then, so they ban Ancient, they play Dust 2. So you're always going to play Dust 2. So if you could play Dust 2 Inferno Mirage, I think that's really going to give you the best chance to beat them, maybe. But you have to catch them on an off day. I think Apex is getting frustrated. I think other people are getting overconfident. I definitely think we're near the end of the era, but at minimum they're going to be top 4 here. If not a finalist. Okay, Furia. I'm going to enlist some copium and say that Furia has a great tournament. Caserado shows up, Yuri shows up the way you want them to. Fallen calls masterclass. Maladoy is the best operator at the event. And who's the other guy on the roster? Yukendar. Oh, how do I forget, bro? Yukendar. Fucking world class entry of 2020. Um, he like Yukendar's the fucking donk prototype, man. He was on VP and he changed the fucking game. Okay? He's the donk prototype, man. It didn't last very long, but I'm a believer, bro. I think actual playoff dark horse more so than Spirit. Probably not. They're less consistent. But you would hope that Furia has been saving strats. The whole like I'm gonna retire thing, right? We're terrible now. You would hope there's some they're saving strats, which they're not, right? Because no one actually does that. But if there was someone to do that, it would be Fallen, wouldn't it? He would be the guy to be like, no, we have to make them overconfident, guys. I'm bad professor, guys, right? And then he saves like some crazy anti-strats. He's been writing a novel, looking at every vitality round. That's why they're losing, right? Because he doesn't care about his own team. He's just trying to beat vitality right now. He's changing the meta. It's gonna happen. So I'm a Furia believer. I would say Ooh, I don't know. I want to say they're top four. Um, I'll just say playoffs. So we'll just make S like actual finalists. We won't make it quarterfinalist, but obviously like that could be quarterfinals. You know what I mean? Okay, we have Navi, and I think well, obviously this is a catastrophic best of five final loss. And what I've kind of noticed from the Navi rosters is that they just seem like they don't want to be there. There's no passion. They look frustrated. They get frustrated easily. I think maybe there's way too much pressure from Blade's side being applied to his team members. And depending on well how the event goes for them, right? If the event goes really well for them, then yeah, obviously we can have a rematch, right? Um, if it doesn't go so great and, the major ends and there's a map change, I think if Ancient goes, right, or one of Navi's stronger maps, I think you need to make roster changes. Or maybe even a coaching change. Maybe Blade, I mean, obviously Blade can get you into a winning position, but at the end of the day, if he's not achieving the end goal of winning, even though he can get you into position to win, then maybe it's not meant to be. I think roster changes are due though. I really don't like the attitude coming out of the Alexi Bs, the Ims, and who's the other guy? Makaze is pretty new and he's good, but Bits has had a really terrible fall off. I would say Deep Stage 3. My personal expectations for them are probably less than Foot, but they should be better than Foot. They should be better than Foot. I don't know if playoffs are guaranteed, to be honest, because you never know what's going to happen in the next month. So I'll just say Deep Stage 3, maybe playoffs. But okay, the Aurora roster, Turkish roster, I actually have pretty high expectations for. I would say obviously we're starting out in stage 3, so is it is it C or B tier, right? This is stage 2, but it also means like early stage 3. Um I don't know if they make playoffs. I mean, you would hope that Xantaras actually shows up on LAN and then you're here, right? If Woxic is your best player, you're somewhere around here, right? But if Xantaras can actually show up for once in his life, it's probably there, right? And Major should have a pretty good playbook, right? I mean, I don't really think they've been too busy. So, yeah, I think it's fine. Mongols have been very quiet also. Um, I don't really know how much more growth they can have after that loss at Austin. It seems like they have been very quiet. Maybe a 2 and 3 team. I would put them pretty close to like a G2. I would say Foot get to playoffs maybe, but I don't wanna overreach. Yeah, I mean the Mongols are weird. The Mongols are a weird one. They might not make it to playoffs. I don't think it's guaranteed. I don't think it's guaranteed for Aurora either, but it's fine. Again, guys, I just want to, say that Big are still a dark horse if they can get to stage 3 or to the playoffs. Yeah, if they get to stage 3 and they get to the playoffs, then they're a dark horse. Um, Falcons. So obviously the storyline here is Kerrigan. Um, it's been a very disappointing 2 years as a Kerrigan enjoyer. I mean, his T sides have just went to complete fucking shit. So I don't really know what this roster is going to do for him. Because he made Brokey really passive, right? And it's like, you better make a new playbook. Because Mondesi needs to be aggressive. You cannot make Mondesi passive. And then how much, usually like, it's time where people don't believe in their IGL anymore. But in this case, Nico's already had experience with one, bad IGLs, and then two, Kerrigan. So it may not be time that triggers Nico wanting to overcall. It could just be pressure. It could be a very intense game where he goes to overcall. I think they go deep stage 3. It could be another scenario where Nico kicks out his cousin. Um, it should be a bit more free flowing than Navi. And really the question here, I have two questions. Is Kerrigan going to call good? Is Kiyosuke going to play good? And if the answer to that question is both yes, then they're top of A. They're a front runner to get to the finals. And honestly, in good form, they should probably beat Vitality, but they have to be in good form, and I can't guarantee that. So, I mean, even if they play like shit, is it best of threes? They're gonna have to develop their map pool and play well. It's interesting for sure. Parivision made it to stage 3. That's very impressive. I think they have a really fun team to watch, more fun than any of these teams, maybe. Like for me, they're a top 4 team to watch just because they play so slow and methodical. They have the experience now, right? So they have the experience. They should be on an astralis level. I don't know if it's guaranteed though. I think the karma that James has experienced was paid back to him by allowing him to play out his career on this team already. You know, the whole like PC crash kicked from VP like thing. I think he's already been paid back for that. So I don't necessarily think he's getting a free playoff run, but maybe something like this is reasonable. I think I'm really underestimating G2, but right, and like, okay, your team spirit, right? I mean, obviously the Parivision project is working well, but your team spirit, you don't go after Jame, right? I know you have Shiro, but like Jame or Boomage would, you could make something work, right? You could put Jame on a rifle, and I'm sure it'd be fine. And then the last one is Mouz. So they're playing with Brolin. This is just disappointing. Really bad management of the roster. Really bad front office. In that sense, I just want to say fuck out of here. I think they go 0-3. Yeah, I don't know what to expect out of Mouz. I mean, obviously they can't. Obviously, Mouz is like automatically here because they start out in stage 3. But honestly, it's just F tier. It's just F tier. So let's see. We have one finalist. We have 6 total playoff teams, which means 2 of these 5 teams are going to be in the playoffs. Yeah, I think the only one to really make it through is going to be Astralis, which is weird. Honestly, I think Betboom could do some damage. I think Betboom could be like here. But then again, I'm underestimating these 2 teams. They're very high quality teams. This one a little bit more so. But I mean, it could be G2 here even. Like I have no idea. And again, I just want to, for the third time, okay, we're really trying to get that affiliate code or a mouse pad or something, bro. Yo, they're a dark horse, man. They're gonna win the major, man. Yo, Cologne fans, yo, they're gonna beat Vitality in the final, man. I believe it. All right.